This episode of The Good, the Bad, and the Geeky podcast is brought to you by Audible.com.
Get a free audiobook download at www.audibletrial.com/goodbadgeeky.
Audible.com. Over 85,000 titles to choose from for your iPod or MP3 player.
Warning!
The podcast you're about to hear is very filthy. We say naughty words you would use as an adult anyway. It will cause you not to eat your vegetables, and your mom generally thinks it's a bad idea.
Any moment of the show that has any similarity to the history of any person living or dead, real or fictional, to real events are entirely unintentional and coincidental. Unless we're specifically noted otherwise in the cast and crew credits, all celebrity voices are impersonated, and no celebrity has endorsed any aspect of this show. Hey everyone, welcome out to another episode of The Good, the Bad, and the Geeky. I'm Nick Nitro.
I'm John.
I'm Nate.
And
Meat.
What up? And welcome out to another episode of The Good, the Bad, and the Geeky. Recorded the week of May 17th, episode I think 143.
2011.
I think. Yeah, let's go with 143. If not, and yes, 2011.
I can check the app.
Yeah, what did it say on the app?
Yeah, the app.
That's not it.
Yeah, oh yeah, good point. Our app.
Yeah, it's
iTunes.
143 because 142 was the password is Susan.
Password is Susan, yes. So, how was your week? How was your guys' weeks, man?
My week was pretty good.
Pretty good?
Yeah, not too bad.
You guys do anything new with baby stuff or whatever? Or?
Amanda's doing good.
Man's doing good.
well.
Yeah. No, she's just doing good. She's actually 18 weeks this past month.
18 weeks?
Oh, yeah.
Yep.
Nice.
Find out in 2 weeks what it is.
It's a baby.
It is a baby.
It's a human baby, but also...
It could be a litter.
Could be a litter.
And by that, I mean twins or triplets. Don't just assume I mean dogs or cats.
Oh my god.
That's just rude. That's rude. Poor man's probably stressed and you're hurting his feelings.
But yeah, so how was your week, man?
Not really good.
Okay, yeah, what's wrong with you? You're like having problems tonight. What's going on?
Long story short, I have no idea. My dad thinks it could be... I mean, it honestly really is a long story, and it would take way too long.
We figured out... I mean, you said yourself you think you know what it is.
I think I know, but that's one of like 4 or 5 things.
Well,
long story short...
Too late.
I just have shortness of breath, slight dizziness.
It's just because I think
tingling,
you're working out too hard.
Tingling in
Or
my
too
fingers and my feet.
Is it only like affecting one arm?
You need to give your body time to recover, and
in
you're
my
not.
stomach.
Well, I know you work.
Just a lot of different.
I know you work out a lot, but are you working out? How many days do you work out every day?
I was.
But you're not now.
I've done one thing in 4 days.
You're still.
I just.
It was only for 16 minutes. I just did the ab workout today.
I just think your body was just overexerted. That's all.
I mean that could be, but you want to be worried if it's only one arm that's being tingly.
Because it could lead to a heart attack.
Yeah.
You eating enough?
I think it may have something to do with the recovery drink and my lack of eating before and after.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You definitely need to make sure you eat afterwards.
Matter of fact, you should be eating like 8 times a day.
6 times.
Okay.
But other than that, let's move on. How was your week?
It was good. I joined Relay for Life for Amy's Angels, which...
Excellent.
Yes.
I loved that. She was always tenacious when she came into Todd's. I always made sure, when she gave me a flyer, I always made sure I gave it to my dad.
If you'd like to donate, check out my Twitter feed at GoodBadGeeky, and we'll have links on the site, all that stuff. But it's for a good cause. My goal this year is to get $2,000, which totally outside my means, but I hope you guys could help. So, yes, you listeners out there, $2,000, help us reach the goal.
I'd dye my hair blue if we reach 2,000. Screw blonde.
You heard it. Wow.
I heard it.
You heard it. It's right here. I'm not editing that out.
I used to do it all the time.
I will dye my hair blonde, and John said he would grow his beard out back again.
Yeah.
Taking one for the... He'll grow facial hair.
Well... We have a busy show, so we're not going to do mailbag or words and fun facts like we normally do.
That's my favorite thing.
I know. Isn't it awesome? I love that. I love that. That's a great. I love that.
Everybody, it's pizza. I changed it to pizza time.
Pizza time. Bum, bum. But we have Mike Royce on the show later in the episode. He's the co-creator of Men of a Certain Age.
That was a great interview.
I liked it. It was a lot of fun. But we saw Thor as part of the Oscar bet, where we all bet on the Oscars, and whoever had the most wins of the Academy Awards chose what movie we saw. And I even said if it's a big summer movie, I'll go pay extra and do IMAX. John won. John chose Thor, and we saw Thor at midnight.
Why don't I go last?
Okay, so John,
I'll go first. Okay, right off the bat, like I didn't want to see the movie in the first place.
Yeah,
I'll be honest; it did not look that amazing. And whenever I think a movie, everything happens the way I think it does because I just am amazing. First off, in no way can you have biologically an American mom, a British dad, and then have an Australian child.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I don't know much about
You're trying to read your iPad and he just keeps flipping on you every single time. Okay.
I don't really understand Greek mythology because instead of sitting at home reading books all day, I used to go outside and play sports and live.
Right.
And other things. So I don't know all about mythology and all that stuff to even know if it matters where a god comes from. But I'm pretty certain.
Vagina, probably.
I'm pretty certain if they are birthed. Well, I know that Hercules didn't come out of a vagina. Wasn't he in the leg of someone? Because if Hercules was born out of the womb, he was
born. He was human born.
Mm-hmm. No, somebody was born at. It was grown in a thigh. See, this is what I'm saying. I don't even know, but I remember that. Some baby was in a thigh or something. Anyway.
Okay. Yeah, keep going.
I'm sorry.
If
that isn't being wrong, I have no idea.
It's
but
okay.
I remember it wasn't.
No, you admitted you have no idea if it's wrong or not. But that's what I'm saying. This is what's bothering you.
It just doesn't make sense to have everybody sounding completely different because everyone else almost sounded the same, except for the big Scottish guy, kind of big curly red haired guy
who liked to eat food.
But nobody in the Thor family. I don't even know what their last name is. Thor Smith. Nobody in the Smith family sounded the same, and it's just really
the Smith family.
I couldn't get past it. A, B. It was just weird to see Renee.
Dionysus was born out of Zeus's leg.
Somebody was born out of a leg.
Yeah, but not Hercules. But not
Zeus is a man.
No, I get it. I thought birth always came from women except for seahorses.
I don't know.
Well, man was created from
a rib.
Yeah.
Okay, so anyway, that's what I didn't like about just the beginning. I didn't really.
We haven't grazed the surface, people.
Okay. I didn't really. It kept getting worse toward the end. Like his 3 or 4 friends come down to earth.
Okay, so you're angry.
Well, go. It kept getting worse toward the end. Like, she got her, notes back that she worked hard for that, the CIA was supposed to take. It just so happened that this guy's so amazing, blah, blah, blah. And then all these guys just walking down the street. And then nobody, it really doesn't seem to bother that many people. And then this giant...
It did bother people. They were looking and staring at him.
They didn't know what the hell was going on.
And the one guy even reported them to S.H.I.E.L.D. to point it out. The only problem is... the big fucking destroyer thing arrived, and that was obviously more of a problem.
What do you mean they didn't care about it? I would assume...
I just didn't like...
I would assume all the people running in the opposite direction meant that...
Do you want like a Godzilla movie, like when the 3 big guys show up? They look like they were from a Renaissance fair. That was the joke that the one guy made.
It just didn't seem that funny. And then, he gets beaten by...
I don't know if it was going for comic relief, though.
I don't think... it was sort of humorous, but it's like, no. It's pointing out the obvious, which is they look like they're in a Renaissance fair. They're walking down the middle of the street. The stuff with Thor was actually funny because he's the lead character you're rooting for, but you're going, Jesus, he's an idiot. He just walks down the fucking middle of the street. These 3 are doing the same thing, but you've already seen that. So it's a retread, so it's more the fact of why are people not doing anything against him? Against those 3, and they looked at him. The little kid was staring at them, and the mom pulled him away. And it's like, do you think we should report this? What is the Renaissance fair in town? Well, we'll report it anyway. Yeah. And then that's when the destroyer showed up.
Okay.
No, Nate. if you feel that this is wrong, go for it, buddy.
No, I don't really want to waste much breath. But the fact that, like, he should be dead and making me happy because then the movie could end faster. She's like, oh my God, I love you. And then...
She never said that then.
Yeah, she never said that.
Well, then she cried.
Well, yeah, her hot stud muffin guy died.
And then all
She
of a
wanted
sudden,
to
it's like,
make sweet
oh,
love
by
to
the
him.
way, you know, Zeus does something.
Odin.
Odin. What the hell ever? Odin. He only says like 15 lines in the movie.
So?
Well, so what?
That's not a major character. I can't remember his name. Takes a while. And then all of a sudden, he gets his power back, and everything's just hunky dory. And then toward the end, I couldn't figure out. Okay, why is the bridge gone? Why did
Thor destroyed it?
Yeah, Thor destroyed
No,
it.
no shit. Why did he have to destroy the bridge?
Because he couldn't get through to
No,
the
he
machine.
What machine?
The machine that was going off. The machine he was trying to... That was the whole thing.
I couldn't.
By the way,
figure out the
spoiler
reason.
alert for those who haven't seen the movie, but it's like one of the most... It's #1 movie in America still, even after Bridesmaids came out.
Yeah.
Which, that's a funny movie.
I wanted to see that.
It's a funny movie.
Is it?
Yes. But the whole thing is that Thor... And this is true. My dad told me. Thor... No one can pick up the hammer but Thor.
Yes.
And unless in this case where he's dishonored himself and he needs to earn it back. That's why when Thor puts the hammer down, Thor could probably wing himself through and to the hammer, but it was going so fast he probably wouldn't get that far. Matter of fact, he had problems walking towards it. Matter of fact, Loki was making fun of him for, oh, the mighty Thor, see how far he gets with his hammer. So Thor goes back, picks up the hammer, realizes he can't throw him or the hammer at it, it won't stop it. So what's the only thing he can do? Destroy the bridge, which is holding it, and it'll collapse and destroy itself. And save everybody.
How in the world did Loki live?
Because he's Loki, he's the god of mischief.
We didn't see him fall.
Maybe. And now, this to me, I thought was the interesting twist about that. Because I saw it twice. I got passes to it unexpectedly, like the day before the screening. So I went and saw it. And when I first saw that, I was like, okay. But the second time I was watching it, for those who don't know, the end of the movie, there's another clip that ties to the Avengers. The professor, the guy from Good Will Hunting, he goes down, meets with Nick Fury, and they show him the Cosmic Cube, or what will be the Cosmic Cube. And you realize that Loki, who we thought died in a wormhole, by falling into a hole, a black hole or whatever, he either is the professor or he's controlling him. My thought is that it's a bit of both. He at one point switched him out because remember after he gets Thor and all that, they're in the library looking stuff up to how to help Thor get out, and he seems almost mockful of the entry of Thor. So I think there was a switch made at some point, and so Loki's been on Earth. Because why did Loki appear in a dress suit? Why not appear? Because no one else can see him.
Caring after a while. I like the music.
No one could see him at that point. Why did that's what I'm saying? Like the second time I saw it, I was like, I think that's a good twist, man. But Dad was like, well, Loki always took over other people. I'm like, no, I don't know. I think that's it could go both ways. That's why I thought it was pretty cool. But I mean, that's what was up with that. And Loki could have fooled Thor and his dad, that showing that he fell. Because remember, he created 10, 20 different versions of himself. He could put another version of him acting like it's falling and actually make himself invisible. I don't know. That's the whole thing. He's the bad guy of the event, one of the bad guys of the Avengers. So we'll find out what really happened. That's sort of the part of some of these anyway, is that Thor is one of the guys in the Avengers, which is the bigger superhero movie, along with Iron Man and da-da-da, which I liked some of the other cameos in that too, which was pretty neat.
Yeah.
Is this one of Stark's? I don't know. Nobody tells me anything. But Nathan, yes, what else did you not like about it, sir?
That was it.
That was it? Okay. John?
It just didn't hit me like the other. Like, I don't mind the superhero movies. It just this is my absolute least favorite out of any superhero movie I've ever seen. And I'm basing it
Even
off
Spider-Man 3?
Even Spider-Man 3.
Wow, okay.
But I liked the music. The graphics were really good. Sorry.
I don't know. Everybody says they don't like Spider-Man 3 very much, but I mean, I like Spider-Man.
I like the first half of the movie.
I'm
a big
fan of superhero movies anyway. whether or not they're good or not.
Right.
I just like superhero movies.
Okay. Well, no, I do too, to an extent. Yeah.
Actually, since I watched Thor, I've kind of been on a superhero movie kick.
Have you really?
I was downloading some. And
what movies have you been watching?
I watched X-Men the other day.
I love X-Men.
X-Men's good.
I watched Kick-Ass on Netflix.
Isn't that a good movie?
I thought it was really good. Yeah,
I like Kick-Ass.
Kick-Ass was really good.
Nathan didn't like that movie either.
Kick-Ass.
We watched it and you hated it. You said that was the worst movie you had ever seen.
Wait, is that the one with
the little foul-mouthed girl, hit girl, Nick Cage?
Oh yeah.
Never mind. You didn't like that movie? Man, what the hell's the matter?
I'm sorry.
No, well, you gotta give it to Nathan. He did watch it and he did not complain when we were watching. I know we give you a hard time for that, but you did.
I thought it was funny that Nicolas Cage talked like Adam West.
I know, wasn't that awesome? It's like, oh, by the way, if you need us, just use the flashlight. It's the shape of a giant cock. I was just like, oh god, that's awesome.
I didn't. Wolverine. Absolutely hated it.
Well, no, that's a bad. Have you watched Wolverine?
I haven't seen that yet. No,
it's not a good movie.
If you can watch it for
downloaded
free,
a lot of superhero movies.
You can watch it.
When I say a lot, like a lot. But
I have Spider-Man 2, the director's cut here. You should watch that.
I downloaded it.
Oh, you already downloaded it. Okay. Do you watch The Incredible Hulk?
Which one?
What's that?
The new one, The Incredible. Don't watch
it. Edward Norton?
Yeah.
I haven't watched it yet. I have it though.
You have it though?
That's a good one.
That is actually good.
I have it though.
I like that.
It's a good movie.
Basically, okay. Here's the thing.
Okay. Uh-oh.
If you go on Wikipedia and you type in superhero movie, basically anything between Superman and Thor that was released on DVD. Basically, Thor's not in DVD, so
yeah. But you have it.
Yeah, I actually didn't download.
A lot of movies, man.
It's you know what? It's not as many as I thought it would be.
Okay.
But there's some like random ones in there that I didn't know were ever made. Like, there was a movie with Alec Baldwin called The Shadow.
Oh, The Shadow, yeah.
And
that's based on an old radio play.
There's like other stuff in there.
Daredevil with
Ben Affleck. I like Daredevil.
Have you seen the director's cut?
This might be the one. It's
one with Coolio in it.
Okay, it might be the one that I actually downloaded.
Because the normal cut doesn't have Coolio in it. You watch them. I know that's weird to say watch a movie with Coolio in it, but or maybe it's Snoop Dogg. It's one of the two. But like, it's really good. Like, because if you watch normal Daredevil, you can tell it's like Jennifer Garner. She's really big in Alias. It's really her movie.
Yeah.
But we don't really get to her till later. Yeah, Daredevil, the director's cut is about Daredevil. That whole weird love scene between them, it's not in it. Yeah. Matter of fact, she's barely in it, except for at the end.
Mm-hmm. Well, I got it. I got in the kick of watching superhero movies, and then as I was downloading superhero stuff, I was looking at comic book movies too. Like, they're not technically superheroes, like Dick Tracy.
Oh, that's a good movie.
Or
that's a fantastic movie.
Flat Top.
I like Mumbles. Dustin Hoffman.
Movies that are actually based on comic books. They're not necessarily. Did you ever see History of Violence?
Yes, that's a good
movie.
That's a good movie.
There's stuff in there like 300. It's kind of a graphic.
Yeah, 300. There's a movie, American Splendor.
Seen it, yeah.
It's a little dry, but that's actually a pretty good movie too.
But basically, I've been on the superhero movie.
That's awesome. But
I just put them on when I'm like doing stuff around the house.
But you like Thor though, right? Yeah, you like Thor.
Yeah, I liked it a lot. I don't get into much of the
the comic book stuff.
Well, yeah, like I never read comics when I was little or ever.
Right.
I just really enjoyed watching all of the When I grew up, in our house we didn't have cable.
Right. That's cool.
We had 3 VHS movies in the house.
Okay, what were they?
Cinderella.
The Disney version or the Roger
Disney
Hammerstein?
Version.
Okay.
Disney version. My sister watched all the time. The Sandlot.
Great movie.
And Batman Forever.
Anyway. Well, yeah. Okay. So, up next we have Mike Royce, and to set this up before we go to commercial break, that way we'll do a few songs, and then we'll go right into the break.
Hold on, before we do this, I got an idea.
Yes.
Since we're talking about superhero movies.
Yes.
And hopefully have a lot of people listening to this show.
Yes.
How about we get people to contact us by emailing us at goodbadgeeky.com@gmail.com.
Good idea.
Or they can call our voicemail at 614-364-4088. Or they can go to our website, gbgpodcast.com, and get us through there. And email us or get a hold of us and tell us their favorite superhero movie.
Or Twitter us.
John
Batine, Giant Nate, Good Bad Geeky.
Yeah.
Or they could buy the app and the phone number's right there in case they forget it.
Yeah. That's right. And if you have an iPhone or Android, there's an option for you to call us right from there. Really sweet.
It really doesn't look that bad. If you download it for an iPad, it's still from the iPhone, but it still looks really great and it loads well and it works really well.
Yeah, and there's a slight pixelation in it, but as Nathan said, it works fantastically well, like it does for the iPhone and Android.
But anyway, I think people should...
Yes.
I'm interested to hear about what people like.
Definitely.
And
who is your favorite superhero and why?
There you go, yeah.
There we go. I like that.
Villain. I'm a villain guy.
Yeah. I love a good villain. I love a good villain.
Too.
But we interviewed Mike Royce. He's a really nice guy. He co-created Men of a Certain Age and with Ray Romano. And me and Nathan got to speak with him. Now, John, you had an emergency. You couldn't do it when we initially recorded it, but...
Yeah, I kind of forgot. I forgot that we were doing an interview that week.
Then also
I got confused.
Your parents' anniversary.
Yeah, my parents' anniversary.
That's cool. But one of the things that because I tried to get everything organized for us to do everything, and I wrote a little intro, and I have dyslexia. I've talked about this before, and whatever. But it actually bit me in the ass in terms of I gave Nathan this giant chunk of text to read, right? And he read it, but
really well,
actually. But the problem was he read it exactly as I wrote it, and the comedian Louis C.K., my dyslexia kicked in and called him C.K. Lewis, and Nathan read it as it was because he did.
Go fuck yourself, San Diego.
So, and I felt bad, and usually in these situations, I would try to fix it in editing. And matter of fact, I added one little line in there like, "Oh, I'm dyslexic," but. Louis C.K., if you ever listen to this, I'm sorry my dyslexia caused Nathan problems, and it's not Nathan's fault. It was actually my fault. And June 1st, Wednesday, at 10 p.m., 9 p.m. Central, Men of a Certain Age. Cannot repeat that enough. So check that out, and we'll be back with Mike Royce right after this.
A flowering spade growing out of his chest, full of magic and healing. She is a flowering spade. As she moves and she sways, you can see that she feels it. She's off to dance with the goat boys. He's off to sail through your wide open ocean. She learned to sing from the siren. He learned to swim from a drop in the water. There are words, there are signs. Close your eyes, there is magic inside you. Hey, the sparks in your mind, building frames for to trace your desires. She learned to cook from a sailor. He learned to cry in an elephant circus. She found a recipe for flying. He's growing flowers to understand, die and rejoice.
Almost everyone has been touched by cancer, either through their own personal battle or through someone they love.
This year, the Good, the Bad, and the Geeky podcast is helping Nick's team, Amy's Angels, raise money and awareness at this year's Relay for Life, which will be held in London, Ohio.
Help us get the word out there.
So, if you're on Facebook, just send a message to your friends. If you're on Twitter, tweet it. Basically, if you see a link, just share it.
To donate on Nick's behalf, visit tinyurl.com/gbgacs. Or, if you want more information, then please check out Nick's personal Relay for Life page at tinyurl.com/gbgr4l.
Help us help the American Cancer Society raise awareness and stop cancer.
Every day, the American Cancer Society is helping us stay well by preventing cancer or finding it at its earliest, most treatable stages.
The American Cancer Society assists families in finding the best resources to help their friend or loved one deal with a diagnosis and their journey to get well. The American Cancer Society is also rallying communities like ours through events like Relay for Life to fight back and find cures for this disease.
We are participating in the American Cancer Society's Relay for Life because we want to make a meaningful difference in the fight against cancer. Please join my team, Amy's Angels, or make a donation to help the American Cancer Society create a world with less cancer and more birthdays. Together, we can help make sure that cancer never steals another year of anyone's life.
Hey, you know what book I've not read in a while?
What?
Angels and Demons by Dan Brown. There's a few new ones I wouldn't mind having either.
I'm busy a lot of the time, too. Yeah, that's why I listen to audiobooks on my iPod Touch. It helps me stay in touch with the books I want to read and allow me to, fit in between the rest of my responsibilities. That is why, for some of you listening to the Good, the Bad, and the Geeky podcast, Audible is offering a free audiobook download with a free 14-day trial to give you a chance to check out their service.
I was able to sign up and get a free copy of one of my favorite books, Catch Me If You Can.
Hey, do they have Horton Hears a Who?
Let me check.
Yes, they do.
So if you'd like to download your free audiobook today, go to audibletrial.com/goodbadgeeky.
What's that again for the free audiobook?
Again, that's www.audibletrial.com/goodbadgeeky for your free audiobook.
My hands clutching yours. Don't look now. It seems these mountains are crumbling down, but there's nothing to fear, my dear, 'cause I'm always near. And oh, hey, we will be waiting for this to pass. Oh, hey, there will not be any turning back. And oh, hey, here they come around again, singing this will be the end. What the freak? These snakes are raining down on Main Street, but you can take shelter underneath. I'll be your umbrella. And when the sky turns as black as the darkest night, I'll be your candle, your burning but I think it will be okay. 'Cause my hand's clutching yours.
And we're back. Before the break, we heard Flowering Spade by Sean Hayes and Nothing to Fear by the Thumbnims.
And up next is, well, what's great about doing this podcast is that we get to talk to people who are behind our favorite TV shows, movies and films. Exactly like this individual. You might have seen his name as one of the guys behind C.K. Lewis's Lucky Lewis, and the smash hit playing in syndication pretty much on every station known to man, Everybody Loves Raymond. And along with Ray Romano is the creator of TNT show Men of a Certain Age, which will return Wednesday, June 1st, 10 p.m., 9 p.m. Central. His name is Mike. Welcome him out to our show, and thanks again, Mike, for taking the time to do our podcast.
Thank you. Yes, it's a pleasure to be here. I don't think anybody has ever called Louis C.K. C.K. Lewis before, and
did I say it wrong?
I will pass that on to you.
Oh, sorry.
Literally,
he goes by Louis C.K. and his last name is pronounced. It's spelled differently. It's C.K., but it's pronounced C.K.
Okay.
It's a Mexican name, and so he changed his name to the initials to avoid confusion, but obviously caused more confusion for you guys.
That's my fault. When I was writing that, I was talking about C.S. Lewis, the author, and I also add that with my dyslexia, and I think I just...
That's okay.
Oh, well, anyway, thanks again for doing the show, man. And one of the things I was doing some research on, and I noticed that you were a warm-up comedian for some TV shows.
Yes.
And one of the things that was, again, I'm always fascinated about how everyone's sort of interconnected in Hollywood, whether it be film and TV. And
right.
We spoke with Bill Lawrence a few weeks ago, and of course he did Spin City.
Yes.
Yeah, which
he was my first great benefactor in show business.
Really,
Bill. Yeah. What were you going to say then?
No. I just find it fascinating. So I'm like, that's just really cool. So
yeah, I did Spin City. I actually. The first warm-up job I ever had, I was the warm-up comic for the Maury Povich show.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
Did it happen to be an episode about teenagers being pregnant?
It was sort of before, I think that's sort of his stock and trade now, but it was before that took over. So he would have a lot of different topics. But honestly, I took over the job from Mike Sweeney, who's the head writer of Conan.
Oh, wow.
And we were also friends, and we lived around the corner from each other in Brooklyn way back when. That was my first warm-up job. It was a very interesting gig because I was kind of the only funny thing they would see on the show the whole time. Sometimes it was a very depressing, or serious, I should say, topic. And it's sort of how I cut my teeth in the whole warm-up, thing. And then, a few years later, when they were doing Spin City, Bill hired me to be the warm-up comic for that, and then they actually put me on the show, which was really not a good move on their part. If you ever get a chance to see it in syndication, it's not the active pinnacle.
But I think you'd be fine. But
it was they protected me. They gave me some good jokes, and I couldn't screw it up too badly.
Oh.
But and then he hired me to write a script for the show, which was my first. I had a writing job at MTV a few years before that, but it was my first network, writing gig.
Oh, okay. Now, how did you get to Raymond, or Everybody Loves Raymond, and of course Ray Romano? I know you did stand up with him back in the day in New York, or
right. We knew each other from. He actually got me into my first, or one of my first clubs in New York. I mean, we worked together. Catch a Rising Star in Princeton, way long time ago, and he was nice enough to introduce me to the people at the Comedy Cellar, where he was a regular, and they ended up being sort of the club that I was, that I frequented the most, and they were the nicest to me when I was starting out there, and then once he got the show, he sort of he moved here and moved to California, and I sort of we sort of lost touch, but not completely, and then he in the third season of Raymond was going on tour, and he hired me and a bunch of other people sort of open for him, rotate opening for him.
Okay.
At these theaters, and he was writing a book at the time, and he hired me to just give him a few more write some sort of filler stuff for the book, and he kind of liked what I was doing, so he ended up sort of having me do more, and that ended up being a good working relationship, and that ended up leading to a job offer on the show.
And that was Everything in a Kite, right? The book?
Everything in a Kite, yes. Number 12 on the New York Times bestseller list for 1 week. That is correct.
That's awesome, man. See, that's...
yeah, it was definitely fun to see. It was like Christmas week, and, it wasn't overwhelming bestseller, but certainly people bought it, and it was fun, yeah.
Oh, yeah. Well, now, in terms of... now, I read this somewhere on Twitter, that Men of a Certain Age, because that's what the show that you're doing now with Ray... had a really long development period. Is that true? Where was shopped to many different networks, including Showtime or HBO?
Yeah, not Showtime, but it was. It started at HBO. It was a very long development, just for a number of reasons. We started working on it in the summer of '06, Ray and I, because Ray was still sort of wondering what he was going to do next, and I was waiting for Lucky Louie to be picked up or not. And we were just sort of kicking around ideas for movies and stuff. And, as we do, we just started talking about what was happening in our lives. And basically what was happening in our lives was we were both up at night wondering if, all this existential questioning about our lives.
Right.
And we said, well, maybe we should write something about this. And we started writing, and these characters came out. And it started feeling like a TV show. More than a movie, really. And so HBO sort of got wind of it and was interested. And so they started, developing it, They hired us to develop it there. It ended up not being something that they ended up passing on it. There was sort of a whole change of guard, as happens.
Yeah, happens.
But they were nice enough to say, if you want to try to put it somewhere else, well, it's okay. And we talked to TNT, and then they, were really interested in it. But at the same time, right when we started talking to them, there was a writer's strike. So that delayed it, another 3-4 months, basically.
Okay.
And then once we started at TNT, it's sort of the way the calendar worked made that we spent an entire year doing the pilot. And then they basically picked it up and didn't put it on for another year. So it was almost 3 years just getting the whole show on the air.
Well, yeah, because I do remember hearing about it a lot. And again, the writer's strike, that threw so many things up in the air and just sort of messed things up for a lot of people.
Yes. Well, I was, out there marching every single day, and it was a very good cause, and it's still sort of.
I agree.
Yeah, there's a lot of issues there that need to be still resolved, but it also screwed up a lot of things for a lot of people. Yes.
No, yeah, I'm about ready to turn 30, and.
Holy shit! Can I say shit?
No, yeah, you can say fuck, shit, cunt, ass, whatever you want to say.
Fuck on the show. All right.
Cock balls.
Cock balls. Goddamn. But I'm about ready to turn 30 here in August, and being that. Thanks. Yeah, Nathan's like a few years younger than me, so he's
younger than I am.
Yeah, you're younger than I am.
No, never mind. Go ahead.
Yeah, anyway. I'm about ready to turn 30 in August, and one of the things that I really relate to in the show is I really relate to Owen. Just because I've not taken great shape of but I'm starting to now. But that's the thing is I have to wear the mask and I do all that stuff and
oh really okay
yeah. But I relate to that whole situation in terms of that, and then of course I relate to a little bit of everything else too because I'm single. I do have fun like Terry has, but then I have the same paranoias that Joe has,
right.
What's when you considered yourself to reach that certain age, what was one of the biggest things that occurred to you when at that what occurred to you? What was your biggest fear in that regard? Like me, I just feel like I can barely pick something up and I hurt my back, and that's just ridiculous.
Right. I had a similar issue when I was about 35 with my back, and that wasn't that didn't actually play into the show very much. But I had sort of that feeling like, oh, am I going to be infirm for the rest of my life? Like, can I do anything ever again? Because I had this terrible back problem that lasted a couple of years. I think it was from when we had kids, carrying them around all the time, and I was weak. I was a terrible, terrible weakling. And also we moved about 5 times in 5 years, and I, of course, because I'm cheap, did a lot of the lifting.
Oh, yeah.
And the combination of those things. So I, started, that was a big wake-up call to say, hey, maybe I should get on the treadmill once in a while, you fat fuck. I said not to you. I just said it to myself.
Yeah, you're fine. You're fine.
But ever since then, I swear it's a weird thing because I really didn't start taking care of myself very well as far as working out goes until I was 35. From 35 on, and I'm 47 now. Mm-hmm. From 35 on, I got into it, and I'm probably in better shape now than I was ever when in my 20s. Except that I'm 47, so so who cares?
Yeah.
If I had worked out a little more when in my 20s, I think I probably would have had somewhat more success with the ladies.
No, yeah, that's the other thing too. Is like I'm getting to the point where I think Terry's sort of getting now, where I want to settle down and get to that next phase. But if I have kids and all that, I want to make sure to be able to do all that. And
you want to live.
Yeah, I want to live and not die of a heart attack trying to chase them around the yard.
Well, Andre Brower, who came into the show, in the pilot, he was very brave to, he said, listen, we got to show that this guy is not the guy he was when he was 20 or 30, and he, I don't know if you saw it, but he wore tighty whities, and that was it. And he's,
yes.
He's now almost 50, and he's a little heavier and stuff, and people made fun of him. But he, he's as an actor was like, I'm ready to shoot. Anyway, he went to the doctor after the first season, and they said, "Oh, you got to lose. His blood pressure was way high, and so he's a vegetarian now."
Oh, wow.
And has lost a ton of weight, which is really fucking us up when it comes to the writing of the fat jokes.
Well, no, yeah, because that's sort of one of the main sources is not only is he sort of a daddy's boy, he also has the...
Well, you just adapt, and honestly, it's thematic for the show because these guys are all sort of trying to, waking up to changes they need to make in their lives. But we actually wrote something about it that's on one of the summer shows where Joe's like, "Hey, you're losing too much weight." He said, "This is all I got, material-wise."
He was a vegetarian on purpose.
Yeah, he's a vegetarian. It is funny to see because he at craft service, when we're all eating, and craft service is where on the set food. That's where you gain tons of weight because there's just so much food there.
And it's all like super like awesome food too. It's like some of the best. Yeah,
it really is.
They take care of everybody.
Choices and they prepare a special thing for him, and it's all I can say is it's the most vegetables I've ever seen on a plate. He's losing weight, but he's consuming a lot of vegetables.
Well, but that's good. They're empty calories though, so that's good.
Right.
So
I guess that must be it because it's unbelievable.
Well, when I do that, I tend to do the same thing if I'm going to get vegetables, and I really am not. Now granted, I'm not going as far to go down the path of just pure veggies, but I'm a carnivore. Damn it, I need some meat, some blood.
Yes, I did that for about 6 months. I was a vegetarian, and I had the worst. I actually, everybody was around. We won an award called the Genesis Award, which the Humane Society gives for shows, an episode or something that does something to promote animal rights or something in that vein. And we did a show that honestly kind of it wasn't supposed to be doing that, but that ended up being something the show did. We did an episode called The Bird, which is about Thanksgiving and a bird flying into the window. And,
okay.
There was a whole thing about, the mother-in-law killing it. You did put it out of its misery, and there was sort of a debate that ended up happening on Thanksgiving, and of course then at the end they all eat a giant turkey, So it sort of raised these questions and whatever. So I had to go. I went to that award ceremony, and that award ceremony is the Humane Society, so it's all footage. Most of the things that win that award are hard-hitting documentaries showing, how they make foie gras and all these inhumane, horrible practices. And it felt like Clockwork Orange, like I'm sitting there, with my eyes peeled open and just watching all this footage. And I left, and we had a vegan dinner there, and I left just going, I'm never eating animals ever. And so I didn't for a while, and I slipped up a couple of times. And then it was July 4th. And for July 4th, I said, you know what? July 4th, I'm having ribs.
Cookout, hell yeah!
I'm going to just make a day. I don't care. I'm just going to do this, and then I'll be, back on the wagon, totally fine. So it's been 3 or 4 months, and I've been really good. And we're having a lot of people over. We have these incredible ribs, and I have one in my hand, like a Fred Flintstone, giant turkey, like whatever.
Sets on the car that tips it over.
Yeah, and I'm saying to my friend comes in, he's kind of picking up the stuff, and I said, "Oh, have you had these ribs? They're unbelievable."
Fall off the bone.
Yeah, they're incredible.
Oh,
and
my
then he
God.
goes, "Oh, I'm a vegetarian." And then I, with the rib in my hand, go, "Oh, I am too." I'm literally just, look like the biggest douchebag in the world.
Oh, my God.
Yeah, I'm a vegetarian.
Well, just say you're using the meat because it's a natural lubricant. It is.
I refuse to comment on it.
By the way, is it still season 2, or is it like production-wise it's season 2, but now TNT's calling it season 3?
I believe it's definitely still season 2, and I believe they're still calling it season 2 because they just split it in 2, and it's a whole mess schedule-wise. But all I can say is that once we get through this season, hopefully we'll get renewed, and then the next time we're on, we'll have 12 episodes in a row, like a regular show, and not put people through this nonsense with the schedule.
Yeah,
that is sort of it's just sort of a necessary evil for right now, because we were on in the winter and they wanted us to be on in the summer, and in order to transition, we sort of had to split up the season.
Oh, okay. Well, I remember also too, like I remember there was a big talk that TNT was trying to be experimental, like how USA is, which is
they do that with their other shows, just like USA. And, the closer airs, whatever it is, 12 episodes in the summer, then they air 4 more in the winter. And Leverage, I think, does the same thing. Our problem is we don't do enough episodes. They actually wanted us to do more episodes, but Ray and I, and, we just want to keep sort of quality control, and doing 15 or 16 was hard enough to do 12 for us.
Okay.
So unfortunately, what it does is it just makes people mad because there's they saw 6 in the winter, like, what the hell is this? There's no way, why don't you have more episodes?
Well, one of the things I really like that you've done with this last season is Manfro, who, he was Gianni in Everybody Loves Raymond, but his character Manfro, he's a bookie, and Joe has a gambling problem. Ray Romano has a gambling problem, and one of the really things that to me was really interesting was how Joe really does like Manfro.
Yes.
But the problem is he knows he has a gambling problem, and Manfro, he just generally wants to hang out with him, but it brings up, so you have this love-hate, or at least I do, I have a love-hate relationship with Manfro. Like, I want him to feel like he has friends like he does with Joe, but at the same time, I don't want Joe to go over the edge to gamble. And then, of course, you guys hit hit you with the gut with the whole that Manfro it's cancer, I believe, right?
Right. Yes.
So then Joe has to go over there out of pity, and you feel bad because he wants to bet with him, but of course Manfro's like, yeah, you can't. So will this be like a continue see-through for the rest of the season, and will it end, or is that, I mean, I know you might not want to spoil everything or anything in that regard, but we
definitely will. We're going to see more of Manfro and see how that plays out. And, he's Joe's in a very tough spot because he certainly is friends with Manfro, and there's pretty much nothing you can do to turn down a guy who has cancer, and as far as like hanging out with him, he doesn't want to not hang out with him,
Right, yeah.
But at the same time, he knows it's bad for him just by nature of what the guy does. So that's a tension we thought was kind of interesting. And yeah, we'll see how that all plays out in the summer.
Well, the other thing I really liked was, and again, because I really like Owen, and I want to say this too about Andre Bauer, is that every role I've seen him in, it's kind of sort of the roles he chooses. I don't know if it's a thing he does on purpose, but his characters always tend to be, sort of jerks. Usually,
he's in charge. He's very in charge,
right? But usually he ends up being sort of antagonistic to the audience, I guess. At least from the stuff I've seen him in.
Yeah, I guess so. I mean, I haven't seen everything that he's done. Most of the time, he plays it as a very commanding figure. Homicide, he was definitely a guy who would go into the interrogation room and, he would get the confession or whatever.
Right. Well, he's really won me over with the role that you guys, how you're writing him and how he's coming, how he's performing it. And this season too, you guys make it out like, well, in general television, the big thing in season 1 was he won the war in terms of getting the dealership or getting his approval from Dad. And then you're starting to see now that it's more like not really a major war won. It's really a smaller battle, and the fact that his dad sort of maybe betrayed him with how things are running at the dealership, and will that continue through as well, or will Owen, do something really special to get out of that?
Well, I mean, basically that story is, careful what you wish for. And, he always wanted to take over and thought his life would be that much better once he was the boss, and now he is the boss, and he's got way more problems than he ever anticipated, probably because of his father's, hiding of information, because his father's too proud to level with him in the beginning, and I think his father sort of was laboring under the illusion that he could get Owen up and running and then sort of, ease him into all the bad news, and instead Owen, without, events took place, and Owen sort of started doing stuff ahead of the schedule that his father thought was happening.
Right.
So then he had to tell him, and it was a big punch in the face to him, obviously, as far as the dealership not, being wildly in debt because of a bad move on Senior's part during the financial crisis. Well, yes, we will see how that's a major albatross around his neck that we have to see how he is dealing with it. And, it's one of those things where when you're that age, he's 50 now, or 50-ish, where you got to deal with the hand you've been dealt on some level.
You just can't start over.
With 3 kids and a lot of responsibilities, and you can't just go, well, screw this, I'll get another job,
Right.
He's got a lot to take care of, and so it's a big challenge for him. And there's definitely some really big things with all 3 guys. Honestly, there's really, I would say, in this summer, there's bigger things that happen with them than have happened yet.
Wow.
We're sort of leading to some big things.
I know you, I don't know if this is just because how Phil Rosenthal ran Raymond, but you really like to do, or it seems like you guys like to use a lot of stuff from real life, which to me, that I think that's, because it's relatable. Everyone can watch it and sort of relate that. I know Ray really loves golf, and I know Jet's a whole arc with Joe this season, and he's trying really hard to get back on, trying to get into the circuit.
I saw that episode.
Right. What was I missed that.
Yeah, he's like, I saw that episode.
Yeah, no, there's more of that, and that's another thing as far as careful what you wish for,
okay.
He's got plenty. He's got a huge challenge on his hands, and I think that he, as we saw at the end of the last couple episodes of the winter, it's not as easy as just, I'm going to do it.
Yeah,
you got to really put your mind to it. And meanwhile, he is again a man of that age. He's got tons of responsibilities. You can't just go, I'm going to, put everything to the side, and this is my dream. And when you're 20, you can just go, screw everything. I'm going to do the one thing I like to do.
Yeah, exactly.
But guys who are 50 can't do that. And so with all 3 of them, we're kind of dealing with that particular reality. You got to juggle a lot of balls, and there's not, life isn't necessarily a fairy tale where it's all going to work out. But at the same time, we see how they, they're good guys, and they deal with these challenges in ways that, may not end up the way they thought it was going to end up. But, I think...
sorry. No, I was just going to say, what was the craziest thing that's happened in the writer's room that has been added into the show as a major story point, or just even something that's just sort of comical even?
Oh, I'm sure there's a good answer for this. I mean, our writer's room isn't like, it's more like a comedy writer's room than it is a drama writer's room, I guess. Not that I've been in any drama writer's rooms, but it's pretty, whatever. It's a lot of trying to make each other laugh with the crudest stuff possible. And I don't know there's probably there's got to be something I'm forgetting about that somebody's going to tell me, but it's I can't think of anything offhand that was I will say that our show is Men of a Certain Age is a little less like Everybody Loves Raymond in terms of that was really coming into the room and saying, here's what happened, here's a fight I had with my wife, here's the stuff that's going on with my family, and making hay out of that because it was very relatable, we thought, to a lot of people. This show, because there's 3 different characters and 3 different situations, and it's more of it certainly is based a lot on people's lives and things that are happening with the specific people who are writing on the show, but we're also stealing lots of facts from other people's lives and twisting them for our own purposes. And I think we have to go a little further afield, than just our own circumstance.
Yeah. Well, now you're from New York, and if I remember from following your Twitter, you're a baseball fan, correct?
I'm a hockey fan.
You're I knew hockey. Okay.
Yes, baseball I could take or
hockey.
leave, but I'm from Syracuse actually originally.
You're from, okay.
And yes, I'm just got finished watching the San Jose about to melt down one more time to Detroit. But yeah, I'm hockey mostly.
Hockey mostly. That's cool. That's cool. Well, Columbus Blue Jackets sort of just suck, so you know.
Yeah, yeah, Columbus, right?
Yeah. We're based in Columbus, Ohio. So yeah.
I used to play a club that wasn't even really a club, but I used to play someplace there.
Was it called remember. Funny Bone? Maybe.
It wasn't, because that would have been a legitimate club. It was a place. There was a woman who booked a bunch of one-nighters, and they ended up I would end up in Columbus a couple of times.
Oh wow!
And I think it was in a hotel or something like that.
Oh,
but there was a lot of that stuff going on back in the early '90s.
Oh geez, well, hopefully the town beyond that treated you rather nicely, though.
What's it, say it again?
Well, hopefully, even though the gig possibly sucked, hopefully the town treated you nicely.
Oh, everybody was very nice, and the gig was actually very good. It was nice. It was nice.
Well, that's good. Is there anything else you would like for us to plug on here besides that Wednesday, June 1st, 10 p.m., 9 p.m. Central, Men of a Certain Age returns?
I would just like you to say that over and over.
All right. Wednesday, June 1st, 10 p.m., 9 p.m. Central. Wednesday, June 1st, 10 p.m., 9 p.m. Central. Men of a Certain Age on TNT.
I will. Sorry. You know what I will say? On TNT, also, for people who missed the first 6 episodes of this half or whatever, there's going to be a bunch of repeats. It's not really friendly to just sitting down in front of your television. They're going to be on late at night. But if you have a DVR, if you're, just put Men of a Certain Age into your DVR, and there's plenty of repeats coming up if you want to catch up with the first 6 episodes. If for some reason you missed those, the second half of the season is actually it was split pretty well, so that if the first episode you see of the show is the first episode of the summer on June 1st, you won't be lost or anything like that. But
cool. And also, I've been sort of brushing up because, again, I've not really. Granted, I get home, I work weird late hours. Yeah, so I've been watching it online at TNT.com.
Yes, it's online. The first 4 episodes right now are on at TNT.TV, and they'll eventually have all of them on there. I think they sort of put them on, then they take them off. They put them on, they take them off.
Wasn't season on Netflix too? Season 1 was on Netflix at one point.
Season 1's on Netflix, or you can just buy the DVD. They're all on iTunes. Every episode's on iTunes, so you can always pay $1.99 and see whatever.
Definitely
there. And yeah, coming up, there's going to be some marathons late at night. I think TBS, the sister station, is going to run a six in a row marathon at some point.
Cool.
And that's all coming up in the next couple of weeks. And then, yes, June 1st,
Wednesday at 10 p.m., 9 p.m. Central. And
I tell my mom.
Yeah, I love this show. I absolutely adore it. It's a great show.
I just started the ones in the winter.
Mm-hmm.
That's why I didn't realize where the show went, because before I found out you were interviewing this guy, I couldn't remember where the shows went. I'm like, where did the show go? Because I finally started to watch it and I liked it.
Right.
Because I can relate to Ray Romano's son, coming out of his shell, actually going out, stuff like that. I related to that. And
good. There's more stuff with him coming up in the summer too. And I think a lot of times people look at the show and they go, "What is that, an hour of Viagra jokes?" And that,
Yeah. Well,
and especially because if Ray's in it, they figure it's going to be some kind of full-on, comedy about getting old and now my balls dropped and all this other, whatever. That happens? I don't even know. And a lot of whining, It takes a little while to change people's perceptions, but now I think people are starting to get used to, have seen the show and see that it's a whole lot different than maybe what they thought. Or perceived it to be in the beginning, and damn it, we want a Peabody, so we're big shits. And
congratulations, by the way.
I may be the only person who ever said we want a Peabody and we're king shits. So yeah, I hope that people, if for some reason they look at it and go, that looks lame, I hope that they'll check it out, because I think they'll be pleasantly surprised.
All right, well, Mike, thank you very much. I greatly appreciate it. And again, Wednesday, June 1st, 10 p.m., 9 p.m. Central, Men of a Certain Age.
Great. Thanks, you guys.
Thank you.
All right, and that was the interview with Mike Royce. Again, June 1st, which is Wednesday at 10 p.m., 9 p.m. Central, and I believe every Wednesday following, Men of a Certain Age. Again, Wednesday, June 1st, 10 p.m., 9 p.m. Central. If you really liked our interview, tweet it, retweet it, whatever, or email us, goodbadgeeky@gmail.com, voicemail 614-364-4088. Also, what was your favorite superhero? Why? Or your super villain? Let us know. And also Twitter, goodbadgeeky, John Bettine, Bettin, or Giant Nate.
There you go.
Anything else we want to say before we go?
No.
All right, great. All right. Well, thanks for listening, and we'll see you guys next episode. Yes.
Real quick.
Yeah.
If you have a problem with what's going on in the NFL, I know this isn't a sports show, but it is kind of annoying.
Okay. We'll
state your problems. I have a lot. Even like the owners and CEOs are all just freaking pissed. Like Robert Kraft is just like, fucking get over yourselves, quit your squabbling, and let's get back. So it's just really funny. Like I don't really watch that much football, but this is just ridiculous.
You know this is going to get edited out, right? It's not a football show, man.
I know it's not. Fine, bye.
Hey, don't forget to donate money to Nick's.
Donate money to Relay for Life.
Football. It's gonna be hard for you to edit now. Do it again. He's gonna edit anyway. Do it again.
Don't forget to donate money to Nick's.
It's a worthy cause.
Yeah, Relay for Life.
Relay for Life.
It really is.
Thanks.
And it goes to all cancers, not just one, like I thought.
I think that's a good note to end on. All right, everyone, thanks for listening. We'll see you next episode.
Get out of here without cheese! You're a creep! Go away! We're having a good time until you showed up, cheapers! Go have some coffee with cream or something! Because I'll tell you something! This is a happy place!
What the fuck am I supposed to say? What song is that?